This is the Enjoyer Podcast. I'm your host, James Dixon.
See something, say something. We've all heard it. We've all been told to do it. But it's easier than you think to freeze in the moment of truth. It's easy to think of the consequences of what will happen next. It's easy to worry about the pushback and what will happen next. The slogan is easy enough to remember. See something, say something. But the reason we need a slogan is because the right to remain silent is our natural instinct. Getting involved is often too much trouble. And so the people you see doing wrong and would say something about, they're plenty of trouble themselves. For most people, it's just not worth it to try to stop them. In politics, anything you say can and will be used against you. So it was an act of courage when Monica Schafer, an Ingham County commissioner, warned her colleagues this year against continuing down the DEI path. Our colleague, Kaylee McGee-White, told the story on the Enjoyer website. Even though continued use of DEI programs puts federal funds in jeopardy, Ingham County has decided they will continue anyway. 21 days of equity was the form the resistance took. Over 21 days, county officials would send emails to all county employees with helpful hints on how to embrace equity and avoid being called a racist. The strongly worded letter gets a bad rap among Republican voters. After spending a day watching big characters talk big stuff on Fox News, they just want someone to do something. But sometimes a strongly worded letter is that thing. Sometimes it's all you can do to sound the alarm that your county is headed toward legal peril, has embraced a form of moral hazard. Sometimes, when you're on the wrong side of a 12-3 majority, strong words are all you have. Too often, Republican voters get caught up on what hasn't happened and what people aren't doing. They ignore the wider reality in the playing field, and they demand results that they themselves haven't worked for and haven't voted for. What they don't get is that sometimes Overton windows move first before the scoreboard changes. And so at a time when DEI and wasteful government spending are all under attack, the Democrats who run Ingham County haven't learned a thing. They've embraced DEI, and they just gave raises for everybody in county government, and they even waited until December, until after the election was over, to do so. Monica Schafer throughout has been a voice of reason. She voted no on the raise, and she sounded the alarm on DEI. If we're going to overtake Michigan, if we're going to save Michigan in the ultimate battle in 2026, we need 1,000 more Monica Schafers. My hope today is that in hearing her story, you'll think about stepping into the arena yourself. And so today we're going to talk about how to make politics local again and the consequences, good and bad, that follow when you stand up, speak out, and talk back. Monica, welcome to the Enjoyer Podcast.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate you taking the time. Monica, you saw something and then you said something when Ingham County continued to embrace DEI far beyond its expiration date. What happened then?
Well, even taking a step back from that, being an elected official, so much of what we do is out in that public figure. So you're always worried about, oh gosh, what are people going to say about this? What are people going to say about that? And you're kind of trying to find your space.
Right.
Especially being a Republican on a board of 15.
Oh, yeah.
My number one thing is, you try to find your space. I have great mentors. I have great people. I'm trying to find some good mentors on the Democrat side, on the board. People that teach me how it's done, how to come back, how to bring things back for my district, how to constantly be the voice of the district.
Right.
Then there's things that come up that you just sit back and say, what the heck? Like really? I'm going through my emails and I'm reading some of these emails that were sent to all county employees. Now they say they were elective, all right? But when you get emails that are headlined like recognizing and dismantling white supremacist dominant culture as a headline on your email,
right?
It's not elective to look at that. If we're doing our jobs as county employees, we're looking at our email. So even though it was elective,
Right.
that title's not elective. And it got down to the point where I was reading that and I'm like, why? Why can we not, as county commissioners, as Ingham County, why cannot we focus on the job that we were elected to do? My job is infrastructure. My job is bringing resources back to my district. My job is looking at ways to help our senior centers. My job is ways to bring in different things, businesses, reorganize the or take a look at how we can help our businesses in my small towns of Weberville, Williamston, Meridian. Why do we have to get into the trenches of this? Why can't we just do our job that we were elected to do? And it just honestly just kind of rode me a little bit wrong. Just kind of ticked me off. So I sat down and I thought, with everything going on, the potential liability to our county.
Seriously.
This time.
Yes.
At this time, we have executive orders coming down. We've got court cases from like even the Harvard court case. We have different things that have proven that, look, we got to take a different angle here or your liability's in trouble. So that's when I sat down and I just, I went to my mentors, of course. Went to my mentors, the people that I can trust, and I said, this is wrong. This is the way I'm going to handle it. Can you take a look at it? I even went to a couple different lawyers and said, am I off on this? Is there a liability to our county? Because me as a county commissioner, I have the responsibility for what I was elected to, the oath that I took to the U.S. Constitution to keep Ingham County out of any potential liability. And that's what it came down to. Yes. Was I scared? Heck yes, I was scared. Yes, I'm scared. I'm scared to be the one that stands up. I'm scared to be the one that puts it out there. Because, I didn't get in this to get into fusses with the county over this stuff.
Right.
I got into it to do good for my district.
And so what happened then was obviously everybody thanked you for your foresight. They said, oh my God, we hadn't thought about it that way. Thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. We were headed toward an iceberg and you sounded the alarm. And then they're going to have Monica Schafer Day upcoming soon, right? That's what happened next, right?
Don't we wish? Don't you think you would be like, oh, you know what, Monica? Yes, let's take a look. Let's have our legal team, because that's what I asked for. I said, what I'm asking for is our legal team, which we hired to keep Ingham County out of trouble. Have them take a look at it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Right.
But if we can steer the ship to keeping us out of trouble and not allowing our employees to have to be inundated and harassed with this every time they open their emails up, then yes, because we potential reverse discrimination going on with it. But yeah, so I sent that out and for kids.
Crickets.
For just a little bit. And then again, yes, our board chair came back and said, Monica, I understand, or not I understand. No, it wasn't I understand.
I think he probably said, I appreciate the question, because they love to say they appreciate the question.
No. Actually, I can just read it right here for you. Yeah. As you requested, I'm including legal counsel on my response for the review and insight of the claims you have made. However, I find your accusations overly broad in general. Further clarify your claims as needed. So then when every single sentence that I wrote was for clarification, clarify this, clarify this, clarify this, clarify this. Clarification isn't my job. Okay, our legal team needs to clarify it for us.
Right.
In which I requested. My job is not to go through and do the legal team's work. Because I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
I am a county commissioner that is trying to keep this county out of issues that could potentially happen, as I cited in a few of the court cases and a few of the instances. So then I just reversed back and I said, thank you for understanding my concerns. Legal team will take this up everything. And well, wait a minute. I'm not understanding your concerns. And it went, it's just back and forth. But the issue is, it was put out there. It was not received. With a welcome response. It was definitely a massive, massive pushback. And I only received anything coming back from the chair. So I didn't receive it
Asking
from
for clarification, but it sounds like basically legal never wrote back to you.
Yeah, legal has not got back to me yet, but I assume, let's talk about this in a positive light.
Okay.
I assume that they would add some clarification in maybe a closed session. But I can tell you, when I sent that out, they were on day 13 or day 14 of it. Day 21 came. It was not shut down. So therefore...
So all 21 days happened.
21 days happened.
Nothing was put to an end. The strongly worded letter did not ultimately stop it. But it sounded the alarm. So here's the thing. So you can't stop it.
Right.
Can't hardly get people to take you seriously in raising the concern.
Yes.
What made it worth it?
Well, I'm accountable to my people. I'm accountable to the people that elected me. What makes it worth it, for one, is that I put it out there. I'm doing my due diligence. I'm doing my job, because we can all talk it. We have to walk it. Elected officials that were elected by the people have to get up and walk it. When we go knocking doors, I'm talking, I'm listening to people. I knocked all the doors in my district twice, 3 times over. Okay, because I'm in a tough area. And the people have to know who I am and what I stand for. Otherwise, they don't know who I am. I'm just a name on a ticket. They don't know me. They look over me. They go to the top of the ticket, and then I lose. I'm useless to my district. I'm useless to the people that, provide for me to step up and run. I'm useless for all the people that have a voice or that need a voice. So what did I get out of it? I got out of being a voice. And I will be a voice. I'm only one of 15, but I'm not there to be one of 15. My voice is identical, and my vote is identical to our chairperson's vote.
Right.
Okay? My vote is identical to our minority leader's vote. I'm the same, but I have to step up and use that instead of thinking that I'm a minority member and I have, I have nothing. I do. And I'm not doing my due diligence or my job to the people that have elected me if I'm not using my voice for all the different things that I heard knocking on doors. There's a reason why I was elected. They want a strong leader, even in the county commission area. We need strong people to step up and say enough is enough. And so what did I get out of it? I got out of the ability that I can hold my head high. I can walk into a meeting and I can say, no, this is not right. This is not right to start demeaning people based on your race, based on your sex, based on your background, and try to demean them so that you're putting them down and not lifting everybody up. Let's use diversity in the real world the way it should be utilized. And that's the diversity of coming together as a group in an office setting. Like bring in the diversity to build everybody up, not tear people down.
Not to divide and conquer.
It's not to divide.
Because that is what it's often used as. I think about it in the classroom setting.
Yeah.
These kind of like privilege walks and that kind of thing. Or if you're a white person, take 3 steps forward, and a black man, take 2 steps back. What if instead, kids from the time they go to kindergarten to the time they graduate were made to think, what's your unfair advantage in life? What's some gift that God gave just you? Because Stephen Hawking had an unfair advantage and he had other problems. We all have some things that are good, some things that could change and hold us back. But rather than think about how to walk our journey and think of ourselves as one of 8 billion children of God, you're a member of one of maybe 10 different groups.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's horrible.
Yeah.
So tell me about this. I mean, you're a mother. Tell me about your motherhood journey and how that led you to find your voice.
Yes. My greatest gift to be able to be a mother. And I can say that we have 6. I come from a family of 12. So I'm number 10 out of 12, and I was raised on
Really?
a dairy farm. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I was raised on the dairy farm, and I had a beautiful set of strong parents that constantly said, you know what, you can do anything you want to do. So all 12, well, I have one little sister who passed away young, but out of that 11, all have either their bachelor's degrees, their master's degrees, their doctorate degrees. We're all, because it was very important for us to step up in the gifts that we were given, to utilize those gifts and be educated and be the light in the world. As I tell my kids right now, it's so much more about be the light in the darkness, because darkness they gravitate to light. People gravitate to light. So in this job, when I first started, at least when I first started out, I had no desire to be an elected official. None. Okay. I was having a beautiful life raising our children. I have my degree of integrated supply management. I worked for General Motors. I worked in pharmaceutical sales. Then I went back and got my master's. Then I had the ability to have our first child. And when we had our first child, I was able to be home, which was a decision my husband and I made together as we're raising children. So then we raised 6 children. And with that, I come from a farming family. I have a farming background. So we had some farm land that I just said, Jim, I have to be able, talking to my husband, I have to be able to instill a little bit of my background into these children.
Yes.
So we started what was called Schafer Raspberries. It's a you-pick raspberry farm in Williamston, because it taught our kids. Now, again, everybody says for the kids. No, I do a lot of the work, because just like anything else, they don't do what we say, they do what we do. The only way our kids are going to learn how to work and to do stuff at the patch was me doing it and them working beside me. So we created Schafer Raspberries, a you-pick raspberry farm that allowed them to learn how to work, how to deal with all different types of people, how to sell at a farmer's market. And it has benefited them as well as me and our whole family and the community. It's a labor of love that we give back to the community. But I use those tools in raising our children. We are, we have a strong faith, because we have to understand that the world is not about us. The world is about something greater in this world, and we give back. As I tell them all the time, to much is given, much is expected. Take your gifts and your talents to do good in this world. Be the light in the darkness. So have I thoroughly enjoyed raising children? Absolutely. And my children now are young adults. I have one that's 24 that's in law school in Boston area. We have another one who just started her job, 23.
Law school in the Boston area? I think I know what that means. It's
Yeah.
a euphemism for something.
Yes, yes, I'm very proud of him. He attends Harvard. He's in his second year at Harvard Law. And he's in a beautiful world where he loves it. And he's learning how to be strong. He's learning how to stand. We're just very proud of the direction that he's taken and what he's doing with it. Because as a mom, if he doesn't do good, like I told him, I'm coming back to haunt you. So we, with our children, then we've got another that just started a job in Florida, and then 2 in college and 2 in high school. So being a county commissioner allows me to have the freedom to still be a parent and still raise those last 2 that are coming up. And it still allows me to be a voice in the community for so many people that don't feel they have a voice. And I love my community. I love my district, which includes like Locke, Leroy, rural areas, Williamstown Township, Williamstown. Yeah. That's kind of a rural, but in between. And then parts of Meridian on the east side, which are your farming, a little bit more your horse farmers, your larger parcels. It's a unique niche that a lot of Ingham County doesn't understand, because Ingham County has a lot of urban. Most of the commissioners are urban area. So the rural area, I
Okay.
have to be a voice, otherwise we have no voice. So,
Absolutely.
so being a parent, I thoroughly enjoy it, but that's what also makes me step up because, like I said before, kids do what we do. They don't do what we say. We wish all the lectures worked. But what really works is when they see mom out knocking doors, when they see mom coming home, sitting down and saying, oh my goodness, what do I do about this?
Right.
And then they gather around me and then we talk about it. We talk, we discuss. And I say, I have to understand I'm going to get backlash. I have to understand I'm going to get this and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
But kids, this is what I signed up for. This is what I've been called to do at this moment, at this time. But this allows me also to be a stronger voice on the county where I can bring back so many other things for them in the district as being a county commissioner. So I love being a mom, but I love being a county commissioner as well.
Absolutely. You caught the whole gender madness kind of at closer to the beginning than the end, where it feels like it's winding down and people aren't playing along as much. But in 2018, people were playing all the way along. So you didn't like the gender policies, the gender politics in Williamston schools. So that might have been even what your oldest kid. Tell us about that, and that led to filing lawsuits. And plus, one thing I love to reinforce to people is that with every action, just like when we were kids, with every action, there's consequences. And they're not all positive.
No.
So yes, you do speak up, but there's going to be some arrows that come back. You're going to lose some people in your life, but you're also going to gain even better friends in the end. So tell us about taking on the gender madness way back when you were early adopter on that fight and how it went and the reaction socially in the community.
Honestly, it was something before anybody even thought anything of it.
Right.
So when you're looking at it, again, I was a mom, 6 kids, going to every board meeting. I was coaching. I've coached all their sports for like 15 years. I've been active in so many different things in the community, active in our faith-based community. If I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna be able to have this beautiful, awesome, wonderful life of being able to be home, I'm not gonna just be home. I'm gonna be active in building the structure for our children. So I was sitting at a board meeting. Policy came out, but it was a 7-page policy on basically came down to, the bathroom issues in a Williamston school 8 years ago. But it was a 7-page policy.
7-page.
And I sat there and thought, what is this? So then afterwards I had to go up and got a copy of it and I'm reading it and I'm like, what? And these people that are on the board are my good friends. I coach with them. I know them. He said, wait a minute. You're telling me my son can be in a locker room and a female can come in and be in there with him? And they're like, Monica, it's okay. We have to get to a point of acceptance because at this time, I believe there was, kids, that had suicidal things in Charlotte at that time. And they said, we have to do this for this. And it's like, wait a minute. You're telling me that we have to do this instead of, taking different avenues and all this stuff? And I said, do you think the community's going to be okay with this? Oh, yeah, don't worry. They'll be fine. So, of course, as a parent, I went home and honestly, I sat down and I cried.
You cried?
Yeah, I cried because I said to myself, God, why did you put this on me? I'm the only parent there,
So you were the lone voice even in the community.
I'm the lone voice.
So they were in a sense, they were right that even if not everyone supports it, no one else is pushing back on it.
Because nobody knew. They just, again, being an active parent.
And they count on people not being involved. And that's the thing. The reason the meetings are so long, the reason the meetings are so late, The reason the meetings are so boring is so the average person loses interest and the few people who run things can do whatever they want.
Or people think that it doesn't affect them until it affects them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to affect them until it affects
Mm-hmm.
them. So
And by
anyways,
then it's way too late.
right. So I went home, I called a friend and I said, I've never posted on social media before in my life. How do I post something? And
Had to be told how to post.
yeah, because again, it wasn't my world. My world was raising my family. But don't touch my kids.
Yeah.
Don't touch my kids. You can
Yeah.
touch me all you want. You can call me every name in the book. You can do anything in a way, of course. But
Within reason.
touch my kids. Let me raise them.
Right.
Well, when this policy came out and it was saying that they don't have to have parental notification if a child is changing their gender within the school system, that's my responsibility. Whether you like my parenting or not, or whether I agree with your parenting or not, that's not up for discussion.
Right.
What's up for discussion is that my child that I have until they're 18 years old, and then FERPA takes over, the family, FERPA when they're 18, and in 18, the world gets a hold of them. Until they're 18, don't touch them. And so it brought out that mama bear in me.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. We had board meetings, over 800 or 100 people there, 150 people. It went on for about a good year.
So you did get people interested once they
as soon
knew
as I
what was happening, but they didn't know to care before.
As soon as I put it on social media,
Yeah.
it blew up, which it should.
Right.
Should, because now you've got parents caring. Now it brought together such a beautiful group in the community that I learned was there, and we learned. But then it brought, again, the opposition. So it.
And guys, by the way, for those of you who are listening who are wondering, what's the point of a strongly worded letter? What's the point of sounding alarms? That's the point, is that as people know, they get engaged too. You can't think of this as useless. If you did, you wouldn't listen to a podcast.
Yes.
It's what you do with the information. So there are certain people who bring you new information that you did not know. What you do with it determines what happens next.
Yes.
Anyway, as you were saying.
Yes. No, and one thing led to another, and we had the phenomenal community come together and say, we just want, for one, we can have individual restrooms open for everybody, regardless of your gender, regardless of your having issues medically, regardless of being a victim of rape who doesn't want to be in a group stall.
Yeah, just treat everyone the exact same.
Treat everybody equal.
Everyone has access to a private suite if they, can get it when it's available. Yeah.
And parent notification. Well, they refused. It was refused. Now they pour down a 7-page letter into a 1 paragraph, but it still took the potential for parental notification out of it. So at that point, I said, you know what? There's only one thing to do, is we have to push it even further, because again, it's my child I'm talking to and I'm discussing, and heaven forbid it wouldn't have been, they wouldn't have been affected because you're talking to them. But it's the other children. It's the other mom who's working 3 jobs to try to figure out how to make do. That's who you're really fighting for. You're fighting for the one who doesn't understand really what's going on. And they need to. They need to have the school do their job with educating our children, which we, Michigan's not looking pretty good right there. But we have to have a good job of educating our children and letting us raise them in the values that we see fit, whatever, regardless of your values. And that's
what I find so disturbing about these times, is that right when schools are at their very worst, academically, with the stuff you actually send them to do, you send your kid to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic. School said, we're not going to do that. But they want to do social and emotional learning instead? You want to play house with kids because it's easier to do that?
Yeah.
Pronouns? Why don't you teach what a pronoun is, not ask what pronoun do you use? Like, I remember getting an education, and it feels to me like a lot of these kids nowadays are getting a re-education.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some things that still go on, and I have to bring their kids home. And we have discussions at the dinner table, 100%, because parents have to put their values into them. So it's really coming when they come home. You discuss it, you talk about it,
Yeah.
you look at the repercussions. You have to talk about everything now. Or before, you probably didn't have to as much with my oldest. You know, but my oldest now is in constitutional law for a reason. And he's stepping up strong in so many areas. It's a beautiful thing. And I just pray that the good Lord keeps him safe and keeps him on his journey, along with all of our children. But it really comes down to parents have to be parents. And sometimes we feel like we don't have the ability to, or we're we're trying to run the rat race of staying with all the different things going on. And don't get me wrong, I am beyond blessed to be able to be home with our kids. I totally am. And that's why I'm stepping up. That's why I stepped up as county commissioner. Is too much is given, much is expected. There's a lot of people that would love to step up that can't. I have the ability to, so therefore I choose to step up, just like I had the ability to step up in the lawsuit. Now, a lot of people say with a lawsuit against the school system, like, oh, Monica, cost them thousands of dollars of taxpayer money that could went to educating our schools. Not one penny. You can ask any school board member, FOIA that, find out how much it costs. What the school does is they contract with a law firm regardless of the amount that they utilize it, just like the county does. I did not cost the school one penny, but I stood for something that so many other people could not. And that's where I did. Was I scared? Heck yes.
What were you scared of?
The repercussions. You lose a lot of friends. The repercussions
You
of
do lose a lot of friends in this world, because
game.
when you're talking about the name and you're walking the narrow path, the reason they call it the narrow path, there's not room for everybody on it.
Yeah. But I've never had so many people come up to me and whisper to me, thank you, Monica.
Bingo.
You don't understand. Thank you, Monica. I'm not able to speak out. Thank you, Monica. And I think to myself, I go home and think, I am able to speak out.
Yes.
I'm not looking at anything else at the county level. I want to raise children right now. I've got 2 more in high school that I have to make sure that I'm doing the same job I did with the first one. The county commissioner role allows me to do that. Yeah. And there's other county commissioners that are looking at other roles or other things that they have to be worried about and all that. I don't. I'm accountable to my God, my family, my constituents, and my county, keeping them out of trouble. So that's the way I look at it. So I take this path. I took the path with saying that it was ridiculous to spend $33,000 on tampon machines in every restroom in the county. Now, during that meeting, you can go through and you can actually look at the county services meeting, and you can see the backlash that I received for that, the tongue lash. But I'm not going to get emotional about it. I'm going to pull it back and say, let's take the emotions out of this, and let's look at the taxpayer funding, the money that our constituents in our Ingham County. Is this a good use of taxpayer money while we're freezing positions in the county?
Monica, it's clear you have the steel in your spine, but was there ever one that hurt? I had one just last week. I did media criticism is a big part of what I do. And Bridge Detroit had blocked a friend of mine, Patriot Post girl, Heather Dow, on Twitter. And I confronted them about it. Like, what are you doing blocking readers and that kind of thing? And a friend of mine who's been on the podcast, reached out like I'm kind of making her situation tougher because she's affiliated with Bridge, and then did, this. I will never let any so-called friend or real friend or family member or anyone I've ever known move me 1 inch off the path that God has me on. So I don't care who you run at me with kind words or concern, or maybe they're mad this time. It doesn't matter what they say, because I know why you're saying it.
Yes.
And I'm not willing to move off that path. Yeah. But tell me, but I'm not going to lie. I mean, so I'm not, It was never something where I was going to move.
Yeah.
But it still sucks. I like the person. I'd like to be friends with that person, but I would never compromise my art or my mission on this planet to maintain such a friendship. Tell me, Monica, about one that hurt a little bit, even though you know you're doing the right thing.
Well, I think early on, because early on I was naive to it. I was honest. I was completely 100% naive. Now,
You thought you were speaking common sense.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? You really, honest to goodness, want somebody to take over the parenting role of your child in this most moral area of your value, your foundation? Again, of my value, my family's foundation. I'm not saying it's for everybody. That's why you keep it out of it.
Right.
You keep it out of it.
It's beyond the scope.
It's just, this is my life's calling. I gave up my career. I gave up everything. This is my life's calling. And for them not to think the same was kind of like, yeah, there was a couple that really hurt. I think there was one really that when I was first doing it, and, when I first really realized that, Monica, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
This is what you have to do. And it's that little calling deep in you. And I know that you've probably heard it quite a few times. Mm-hmm. This is the path you're on.
Yeah.
And you are strong.
When you're walking it, you kind of looking around like, am I in the right place? The next thing you know, you feel that push on your back and you're 3 steps ahead. That means you're on the path.
Because you're not strong enough yet, but I'm going to mold you.
Yes.
I'm going to mold you.
We become the thing. You're not born it. You become it.
And all these people along the way that have done that to me, or that have made me think about it a little bit more, made me understand it, they have molded and created me.
Yes.
Because I would have never stepped up and put myself in this position. But they have created me every path and made me stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay?
Iron sharpens iron.
I don't have any hesitation walking up to somebody or anything. So even when you're so there was one instance when I went to somebody and I said, read this. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? And this person said, well, honestly, yeah, Monica, you are. And I thought very highly of them.
Right.
They were very strong in the community, very highly of them, because I went to them. And there's a few more comments said. And I walked away and I said, thank you, God. Thank you for showing me what I need to do. And then the journey started. So
what did you need to do?
I needed to be bold. It wasn't understanding if this is right or wrong. Right. This is wrong.
Right.
Taking away a parent's right to be a parent is wrong. Okay.
So it took you out of that fuzzy area where maybe there's 2 ways to look at it. No, we're in the world of bright lines, and y'all just crossed one.
Yeah. Just like the 21 days of equity.
Right.
Ingham County has a role for infrastructure, administration of funds, getting back to why, we've got so many people so upset with these, fix the damn roads. Okay. At the local level.
Right.
Not the MDOT, not the interstate, the local level. It is my number one issue with people getting angry at me because our local roads are crumbling. Our local roads, they're trying to have every person that owns the property take out special millage and assessments. Even in our subdivision that I live in right now, they want to assess us in Williamstown Township. Policy was set a couple of years ago. Assess us to fix our own roads, even after we pay the taxes and stuff. But it's just put another divide in the community. Well, there's no local road funding.
Right.
We don't have any local road funding coming down from the state that's adequate enough to fix all these things. But yet the state in this administration, without previous House taking control, we have had it being shoveled all these different areas instead of down to the local area and the local roads. Those are the issues Ingham County should be taking up. Ingham County should be wondering why we don't have enough road patrols in our rural areas through our sheriff's office, which I constantly talk about. Well, we don't have the funding for it, but yet we have the funding for DEI. Those are the issues that Ingham County should be concerned about. Ingham County should be concerned about fixing up our, the Ingham County Fairgrounds to make it a little bit more available for bringing in different events.
They used to say that there's no Democrat or Republican way to build a road. But what there is priorities that say, am I going to fund a DEI department or the roads department? Those are the kind of things. And everyone from Whitmer to the newspapers, and everyone loves to tell you that budgets are moral documents that decide what our priorities are. And whether it's the schools and moving to social and emotional and playing house as opposed to education, or the county wanting to do DEI as opposed to infrastructure, everyone is moving away from their constitutional duty to do something that's easier and more fun. And unfortunately, that doesn't serve us as taxpayers.
Right. And we got to get back to the basics of what government was created for.
Yes.
And utilize this. Ingham County is the highest millage rate in the state of Michigan right now. We're the highest average millage rate in the state of Michigan. Okay, so our people are paying a premium on so many.
What are you getting for it?
That is exactly, James, what I get when I walk out the door.
I just don't see it. I've been there a few times. I don't see it.
So we just passed a new millage in Ingham County for homeless and low-income housing. Okay, even after the state just gave us $15 million funding, that was allocated down for homeless and low-income housing in Ingham County. But again, and I did not support it. I was one of the very few that did not support it. And it did pass in my district. So people voted for it, so it did pass in every precinct in Ingham County. But when you look at low-income homeless housing, we're taking funding. With that funding, it's going through our housing trust fund, where we in the previous year, in 2024, I think we utilized about anywhere from $35,000 to $45,000 of taxpayer money for every housing unit that we developed through the housing trust fund, through ARPA money that was allocated at first through it. So now we're going to take this millage funding, put it into the housing trust fund, and we are using taxpayers' hard-earned money to supplement much nicer units than are for homeless or very, very low-income housing. So as a commissioner, that funding is there now. So it's my job to work together with and find common ground, the 80% that we agree on, the 20% we don't agree on. I don't want to talk about it. I want to get to the people that we agree with.
Right.
And let's find out, since that money's there now, how can we use that to better utilize it for the basics of Ingham County and where it needs to be? I don't have the votes to get rid of it. I don't have the votes to do that. But I have the ability to be a voice for my district and for the county to be the best utilization of that taxpayer money. And that doesn't go to $33,000 to be utilized in all county, all bathrooms like that. It doesn't get utilized in DEI that actually could cause potential liability for our county. Those are the things. And I was even looking at this house. What is it? I just pulled it up. This house 52. You heard about that?
No.
I believe that the House of Representatives Where is it? I just pulled it up here. But anyways, there is on their rules, rule number 52. This would be a great podcast to take a look at. Matt Paul, Speaker of the new House for Michigan, has implemented and put in a rule number 52 into the rules for the way that the House of Representatives has the rules. But in there, it talks about that if anything comes through that a township, a county, or anything like that does not follow the federal guidelines for immigration. Right. Now, are you familiar with what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If they don't follow those
you could lose your access to pork funding.
Yes. Where Ingham County, we just passed a welcoming resolution like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It says we are welcoming, and what is it? Here it is. The resolution reaffirming that Ingham County is a welcoming community to immigrants. The issue comes is that it says, be further resolved that the board opposes any efforts by those who discriminate against persons based on their county origin, immigration status, religion, or to mischaracterize foreign-born persons as public safety threats. You know, they don't break it between illegal immigration and legal immigration, the people that have come before us and put all the time and effort into it. But when we pass stuff like this jeopardizes this resolution right here, takes Ingham County out of a ball game that we should be playing. Why do we do that? Why can we not get past that? Push that out and do the job of the people that we were elected to do. You know, this puts us in jeopardy of losing good things for our communities. And these are the things that I stand up to. I did not support that. I was, again, one of the few. Did I get lambasted for it? Absolutely. But that's okay. I do not support something that is not going to treat illegal immigration, legal immigration, and keep the county out of any potential liability at the federal level. Everything. We have to focus on the real reason for it. So, anyways, thank you, James.
Absolutely. Monica, you've had a wild ride in politics. You've had some extremely close races. So 2018, that lawsuit ends up getting tossed. But by that point, 2020, you're running for office yourself for township supervisor. You lose by 45 votes.
Yes.
Then you run for county commission in 2022 and you win by 19 votes.
Yes.
First of all, why do you run in so many close races? And two, could you please reinforce to everybody, people might want to sit this thing out. Donald Trump's not going to appear anywhere on the 2026 ballot. That affects whether people show up. Please stress, as someone who has just been denied office and just made it into office, the importance of actually showing up to vote locally.
Have to. You know, when I first ran for township supervisor, it was a mentor who reached out to me and said, Monica, you've done so much in the community. You know, so many people. You've unified the community in so many different ways of everything. And you know how to go out to the people. You're becoming a voice, you know? And again, it's a voice because others can't be that voice.
Right.
Not a voice that I think I'm a voice. No, believe me, I am so not. The reason why I do it is because I know people depend on somebody being strong and doing it for them because they don't have the ability to. So knocking doors, doing all that, lost by 46 to a very strong incumbent who's been there quite a bit. And, but that loss showed me how to run. So did I need that loss? Yeah, I needed that loss. That loss created, molded, shaped me, made me stronger.
Yeah.
So then we have a previous county commissioner of 36 plus years, Commissioner Randy Schafer. So no relation, but he had been our commissioner for, over 36 years. Just a great mentor, great friend, wonderful. He came and he sat me down. He goes, Monica, I need to retire. I want to enjoy my wife more, my family more. I have some things that I want to do. Yeah. You're the only person I know that can work hard and has shown that I've worked hard to actually look and bring this district and be a fighter for it, that is gonna fight for the district, for all the people within the district. And at that point, the district just changed. When Randy Schafer was a commissioner, he had a 60% Republican because there was a lot of the rural areas. They did the redistricting. They brought this one back in at about a 49%.
Ooh, that's tight.
Republican
Right.
to about a 51, maybe even a 49.5. I mean, it was like right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it brought in a lot of the Meridian Township, which I just love it because I actually used to live in one of the old subdivisions, Shoals subdivision, that was going to be included in that. So those were my neighbors, my old neighbors.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I thought about it and, took it to prayer, took it to thought. And I came back and I said, Randy, you know what? This allows me the opportunity to still be a mother, still follow my journey in raising these children out the door. And it allows me to take my background with my MBA, my background in sales, allows me to do all that and be a voice. And it allows, and through the whole thing with the community, I learned where everything comes down from above us. The only way that you can, you have to put your foot in the game. You have to be willing to step up and say, I learned where it came from. And at that point, that's where you're saying, if I want to be a voice of reason, of common sense, of bringing back to infrastructure, then I need to jump in. Talk to my husband. My husband said, absolutely. I fully support you. You're your own woman. You go for it. Whatever you want to do, you go for it because this is your journey. I have my journey. You have yours. And fully supported me. And so I just knew that I had to work hard because I'm not in the best of graces with a lot of very strong left-sided people. And I knew they were going to throw everything at me, which they did.
Oh my God. And that 2022, I was reading a story in the City Pulse that basically made it sound like you accused every Democrat of being a groomer and being involved in like Pizzagate. I mean, they emptied the clip on you and tried to tie abortion around your neck. Yeah.
And throw me in the bottom of the farthest part of the ocean. But
why didn't it work?
Why didn't it?
2022 was a terrible year for Republicans in Michigan. And here you squeak it out anyway with the local media emptying the clip on you. How? Because the people have to know who you are and why you're running. Knocking doors over and over and over and over. City Pulse, yes, it's hard. They tried. They really tried. They did. And yeah, but again, they made me stronger. I woke up every morning having a few of those articles stuck to my mirror. Honest to goodness. Because you're going to do that to me. What did that do for you to see that? Oh, it just energized me. Totally energized me. It told me why I'm doing it. If somebody's against you that bad. Yes. It shows you that now you've found worthy targets. I must be doing. Yes, these are the powers and principalities that we are sent up against. And if I'm going to go down, I'm not going to go down with a reputation on that. Right. So every day, all this that did was fire me up. Every day I had my list. Check door. Who wasn't home? None check. Go back to them. Make sure that I'm in there saying, this is who I am. I had a lot of doors who said they would grab my flyer. I had one door, grab my flyer, and he said, I would never vote for this person. Never. And I go, well, why not? Well, because I've never, and called me a few names and stuff like that. And I said, well, can I explain? Well, no. And I said, because that's me. That's you? Slam. But the point is that people, if they're going to get those negative mailers, they have to know who you are. I can't
flood it with mailers and all that because the market's too flooded for that. The only way you're going to change somebody's heart and their mind and allow them to look down ticket, if they, voted top of the ticket Democrat, they look down and say, and I'm sitting here saying, look, I'm going to do a good job for you. The only way I'm going to make them come down and check my name is by being in front of them engaging.
Right.
And then being true to what I said at the doors. And being that same person at the doors. And there's people that absolutely won't agree with me with going against DEI.
Absolutely.
But it's not, it's the way they shove it at our employees and the liability that we potentially have. And that's my job as a county commissioner is to keep the county out of potential liability in every way. So, but that just energized me. So I just hit more doors. And losing by 19, the sad thing is I woke up, I didn't think, won by 19. First thing on my mind, I need a lawyer. Dead serious.
Why?
Well, because you're going to go against the people that are going to come in and try to, recall and look at all these different things and try to get those 19 votes.
Oh, they didn't just accept that they lost and just say,
no.
hey, heck of a job.
Well, they did. But my whole thought process, very first thing because again, it took so long. I woke up and I looked and I go, 19 votes. And I go, I need a lawyer. First thing. And that's sad.
That is sad.
That's sad. But that's where we're at.
It's like the NFL now. Someone makes a big play and you can't even celebrate it because you're waiting to see if there's any flags.
No.
Not how the game should be decided. Like you woke up with the most votes, you won. Monica, what I find fascinating about this whole thing, you're so outnumbered in the Ingham County Commission, 12-3, and there's probably not many like you among even the three. You wouldn't be outnumbered in Lansing, per se, especially with the new crew they're hoping to send to Lansing after the 2026 election. And you'd be in good company in Washington. You wouldn't be outnumbered at all. Have you thought about either of those things as 2026 approaches?
That's not my journey right now.
Yeah?
I've got two in high school. They're my journey.
Yeah. Are they still at the high school?
Yeah, I have one in sophomore and one's a senior.
Okay.
So she just got all of her beautiful, fun acceptance letters. Wherever her journey's going to go. I have a responsibility. The responsibility when I brought him into this beautiful world, I have a responsibility to making sure. And I don't run a campaign halfway. I won't. Too many people, when they donate to your campaign, when you're put up on that ticket, people depend on you to 100% do everything you can to win that seat. Any seat I even looked at would be a diehard down to the 19 votes. Okay? It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I can't put that energy into that seat at this time. My priority is what my husband and I set out to do was to raise our family, give them the best foundation possible, and make sure that our youngest, Sophia, has the same opportunities, the same mother, the same everything being present that our oldest did.
Yeah, you don't want to have that drop off where they experience two different moms, essentially. No. Yeah, one who was around and one who was not.
And if you're really going to run a campaign, you're going to be at every breakfast spot in the morning.
Oh, man.
And you're going to be at every meeting, all the Lions clubs, the Kiwanis, the Rotaries, you're going to be doing that. And that's not, not right now. Not the way it is. Right now I have my focus where the good Lord put me. I'm on my journey. I'm learning to be an effective commissioner in the areas. I mean, they took me off my subcommittees. So this time around, I was on Tri-County.
After the letter or going into the new term?
Going into the new term. I know. So I look at it like at first I was kind of like.
Is it even worth asking if they gave a reason?
Oh, no. That's okay. It's just no reason.
Yeah.
It's so obvious. There's no reason necessary.
Right.
I'm just like, no, yeah. And that's and I came home and I went, huh. And then I go, wait a minute.
That's less work. That's more nights at home with my family.
No, it allows me to take on issues that I truly know our community needs.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows me to dive into certain areas that I can work with other commissioners on that would benefit their district, our district, benefit the county.
Mm-hmm.
It just allows me not to be in channels. Now it allows me to be open to taking on all these different things. I can go and sit in any meeting. I can go and have a voice in any different area. It just allows me to it has actually opened me up to so many different areas that I can tackle on, and I can put my time, my efforts into one specific area and not have to be following all these others. So it's actually freed me up to do more of what the district expects me to do. So
there's some people who are going to be watching who are themselves considering, how should I get involved in 2026? Is it a local office? Is it Lansing? Like, what should I do? Because I know I can't just count on someone to save our state.
Yeah.
We'll get you out of here on this one. What advice would you give that would-be candidate who's tired of just watching everyone else have all the fun? They want to get in themselves.
Call a mentor. Call a mentor to start with. Because if you try to get in yourself without a guide, sometimes you run into the roadblocks and it's more discouraging and will shut you down. Find your mentor. Call me. I've talked with quite a few people in quite a few different areas. Absolutely, 100%. I've been put on this journey not to be alone. I 100% will help anybody any way possible, is to make sure that they're in it for the right reason. And I would help anybody, anywhere, anyhow. Call a mentor and say, this is what I would like to do. Can you help me? That's number one. And don't think you can't. Because the more that you get involved with everybody, even like me, okay? I have my degree. I have all this stuff. I was at a state where I was thinking, why me? I was carved. I was created. All the negativity created who I am, and it made me stronger, not negative, didn't push me down by any means.
Right.
It didn't.
It raises you up.
Just raises you up because you know you're doing something right. And those people need a mentor to help them through. I have had strong mentors, beautiful mentors. I have different people that I can call for all different things. And I seek that mentorship before I jump, because
lean not on your own understanding.
No, because there's so many people that have went before you and that understand it, and they know how to do it the right way versus you getting frustrated and having roadblocks. Just like in that the 52 with the house there that they put together with that, the ruling 52. I would love to see them put DEI in there as well.
It sounds like it belongs in the same exact boat.
It does. And same with the federal. I would love for them to say, show us your DEI policy. Show us your DEI or it doesn't have to be called DEI because so many people are changing it. I would love Matt Hall or whoever is doing that to take a look, who's ever listening to this podcast right now, to take a look at that and say, is this a way we can put this in? Because they're very similar. They're just so similar.
And plus, calling it DEI, what they're all talking about is affirmative action, which, by the way, the people of Michigan outlawed like 20 years ago.
I know.
So it doesn't matter what they call it at this point. I mean, there was a great story, I think, in the Free Beacon, maybe, University of Michigan. All they did was move all the same people. They just changed the name of the office, basically. They might have put up a new coat of paint, but DEI was and DEI is because these people don't care what the law is. They just want power. And that's something to understand about them. We'll actually get you out of here on this one. We'll end it on a positive note.
Yes.
Monica, what do you enjoy about Michigan?
Oh, about Michigan? I enjoy the potential. I enjoy the possibilities. I enjoy that people are stepping up now. And the only reason I was able to step up is because I know in my district, in talking to people, I'm not alone. I'm just being the voice of so many people that can't speak up. So I enjoy the potential possibilities of Michigan. And I think we are seeing some great people step up. We've got some great people that are stepping up for the Michigan GOP leadership. That's going to be there.
That'll be fun.
I'm very positive with things that are going on at our, even with Eric Nesbitt, in the Senate and Matt Hall. And I follow these things because five of our members on the board, 4 or 5 of our members on the board are lobbyists. So the only way for me to get some good information is I have to pull it from the state to see why this information is being brought down. So I'm a little more active in what's going on there because all of that comes usually to Ingham County in some form or another.
Right.
So otherwise, you're in a bubble, and I need to pop the bubble and actually see why these things are coming down to our county, so then I can ask informative questions with it. But Michigan excites me. I mean, our kids want to come back. Okay.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah, the one in Florida, she wanted a job in Michigan in the worst way. It's just she couldn't find one, and here she is, an educated young woman who was.
What career field?
So she's a science business. So she's science business. She graduated from Notre Dame, and she could not find in the Grand Rapids area something for her. So she's working
just blows
for
my
the
mind.
defense company.
Yeah.
Right now in Florida. And she loves it, absolutely loves it. But her goal is to come back. The same with our son, who knows, he's in DC. He'll be in DC with a phenomenal internship. Then he's going to be doing a clerkship in Dallas. I believe with the Judge Ho in Dallas. And then he's going to be coming back to DC. But someday he says, Mom, I want to come back. So we have so much potential possibility in Michigan.
Yes.
And we can't take away our youth. Our youth are coming on strong. Even, and this amazed me, even in Williamston schools, which our kids go to, they had a mock election with, Harris and Trump. Trump won big time.
Really?
So, yeah, I know. Totally.
Maybe the kids are all right after all.
And that's where I say our youth coming up, I think they're getting a little different flavor, and they're saying enough is enough.
Yeah.
We want to keep our money. There's different things. We don't want to be treated different. I think there's so much great potential for Michigan, and I'm excited. This is my home. This has been my home forever, and it will forever probably be my home. So I just thank you for the opportunity to be here. I thank you for the opportunity to have a voice on such a platform as yours. As you know, before I came on, I was quite nervous, and you did a great job with me. But
you had no reason to be nervous. You were fantastic.
Yes.
Monica, where can people learn more about yourself?
Well, it really comes down to I have 2 different things. I do my Facebook, and I try to stay on it and do a little bit more because I've tried to push some things out through the Lansing media. I somehow nobody picks up on me with
really?
That. And yeah, that's okay.
That's just shocking to hear.
I do some articles in like the Fowlerville News and Views. But I also have my website, monicaschafer.org. And I utilize that heavily when I was running. So I put stuff on there once in a while. But I really depend more on podcasts like yours now and different avenues like that. Is like when you just said that, like the Free Beacon, I write it down because I have to find, I'm new to the game.
Right.
But I want to play the game and I want to play it right. I don't want to waste any time.
Yes.
Man,
what a great attitude. Monica Schafer, guys, look her up. Monica Schafer is a name, especially if you live in Ingham County. She might be one of the few voices of reason you'll ever see out there. So Monica, thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you. Appreciate it so much.